Hey there, awesome folks. This is MentorShelly, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, guys. I am, ecstatic to come talk to you guys today about a lot of what is going on in the marketplace. A lot of these employers are pushing return to the office policies and why it's so important for us to not only pay attention but understand how to navigate through all of these. Of course, as you are entering into the chat, if you do see this on the replay side, go ahead and hashtag replay gang in the comments. If you get to watch this as a replay, if you're watching live now, go ahead and drop a 1 in the comments and let me know. Of course, as you're participating, say hello. Respond to the questions or the concerns that you may have. If you are currently experiencing or you are going through or you know somebody that is facing a lot of the return to the office mandates that a lot of major companies are placing their employees under in these days and times. Now let's get to it. There's a couple of articles I want to go over just to make sure that you guys understand that this is not something that I'm just dreaming up here or wondering about. It is happening and people are dealing with some things that is interesting, but we shall go forward. Go ahead. In the meantime, drop a 1 in the comments, say hello, how you doing? And make sure that at the end of it all, that you are contributing positively to the discussion. All right, so let's see here. All right, let's look at this article. It is article 1. It's from isomyhouse.com. And the writer of this article is Tony G. I can't actually say that name. It's Gruznov, I guess. Tony Gruznov. Return to office policies aren't working. According to studies, the corporate desperation is kicking in. A lot of these other companies are not getting the memo, though. Of course. This is Josh. I do watch his YouTube channel and his content. I like his content on YouTube. He does Joshua Fluke. He actually has a YouTube channel. You can, search for him on here as well. He talks a lot about, a lot of the common sense stuff that in the workplace, in the marketplace, and he makes fun of a lot of these CEOs as far as some of the silly things that they do in the name of, we're communicating corporate culture, when a lot of times they just do cringy stuff. All right, so the article start. In a recent video by entrepreneur Josh Fluke, the University of Pittsburgh groundbreaking study on the return to work office policies is dissected, revealing surprising findings that challenge the corporate assumptions. A lot of these corporations are not paying attention to that. Corporate flip-flopping and employee dissatisfaction. The University of Pittsburgh study, as summarized by Fluke, indicates a significant decline in employee satisfaction following the return to work office mandates. However, contrary to corporate expectations, there are no significant changes in financial performance or firms' values observed after implementing return to office policies. Flukes highlight examples of corporate leaders such as Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, and Snap, even Evan Segal, whose initial embrace to remote work shifted to mandating office attendance, which interesting how they shift when it's no longer convenient. This shift coupled with instances of quiet layoffs. That's another buzzword. Quiet layoffs reflecting a disconnect between corporate desires and employees' preferences. Fluke critiques companies' tone-deaf attempts to boost office morale through activities like chair races and happy hours. Such efforts, he argues, fails to resonate with employees who prioritize family time and productive work remote environments. The fallacies of the return to work office incentives. Fluke dissects a guide aimed at persuading employees to return to the office, highlighting the absence of genuine persuasion and the promotion of bias through incentivizing office presence. Drawing from personal experience, the study findings Fluke advocates for remote work, emphasizing its potential to enhance productivity and satisfaction. He challenges the companies to rethink their approach to office mandates, leveraging real estate assets more efficiently. Okay. Of course, people in the comments share their thoughts. What I've been saying all along, it's never about returning to the workplace. It was always trying to prop up the dying commercial realty industry. Interesting. Others are joining in. It's almost like forcing people to come back to the office work when they were just as productive at home without the extra time commuting. Committing makes people less productive. Okay, who knew? Did they think they were going to be excited about that? Some are adding a bit of humor to the discussion, saying, "What do you mean? You don't want to participate in this pizza party and play charades, Todd? He made you come back to the office for this?" A large majority agrees that the return to office doesn't make sense. One second here. One moment. Yeah, the return to work office doesn't make sense. Going to an office to talk to people I hate doesn't seem like it seems like it's good for production. Just let people work however they want as long as the results are good. Why ruin a good thing for everyone? Unfortunately, there's some employers that don't think on that level and they want a bit more of control, unfortunately. Rethinking the return to office policies. Fluke's video sheds light on the complexities of the return to work office policies and their impact on employees' well-being and corporate performance. As companies navigate these post-pandemic landscapes, embracing flexible work arrangements and prioritizing employee preferences could be key to fostering a productive, harmonious workplace environment. What do you think? How can companies balance the desire for work collaboration with employees' preference for remote work? And what role should employee feedback play in shaping the return to office policies and company culture? How can companies effectively measure the impact of return to office policies on both financial performance and employee satisfaction? What strategies can companies employ to address the disconnect between corporate expectations and employee preferences regarding office attendance? See, so of course, this part is an article, of course, because this is on the website called isoldmyhouse.com. Guys, at the end of the day, the studies are showing that, of course, these employers really don't have a leg to stand on as far as the studies are showing that the return to office policies, they claim, oh, it's ruining our morale and we're not collaborating like we should and things of that nature. And this study shows that nothing could be further from the truth. So there's another article, Forbes article, that tends to agree with that sentiment. This was written by Joe Moglia, and the article is in Forbes. That says, why laying off remote workers is a bad idea. I think so too, but let's dive into this, okay? All righty. It says layoffs are striking workers across the industries in 2024, from 1,700 at Nike, 1,200 at UPS, and 20,000 at Citibank. The data indicates that in many cases, fully remote employees are the most likely to be cut than those who come into the office regularly. While this may seem intuitive to many managers, why? Because of the location. This may be intuitive to many managers. Prioritizing in-person over remote work is a misguided strategy that many may harm companies in the long run. Absolutely. You're not looking at this based on skill, business need, corporate performance. You're looking at it based on simply not seeing that person in the office every day instead of looking at their intrinsic and actual value to the company. Since the pandemic, the way people work, especially white-collar workers, has changed dramatically. Previously, the baseline assumption was that everyone worked from an office 5 days a week. Now, the assumption no longer holds true. Many full-time employees are working fully remote, even years after the peak of the pandemic. Other companies have embraced hybrid models with the majority of employees coming to the office 2 to 3 days per week. Some have pushed for total office return. Many people, particularly those with young children and other family commitments, prefer remote work, and they generally rate themselves as just as productive or even more productive, which I can actually share that sentiment. I agree with that because when I worked remotely, I was more productive when I was at home. Um, than when we were in the office 5 days per week. And 4 years from the start of the pandemic, studies increasingly indicate that, at least in some situations, remote workers are indeed just as productive or even more productive than their in office counterparts. But let these corporations tell it, they have a whole nother view of the situation. Yet, according to the Wall Street Journal, workers who are 5 days per workers who are 5 day per week remote workers are 35% more likely to be laid off than hybrid or fully office employees. The explanation for this is that when companies need to cut their workforces, proximity bias often leads the way. And that's a shame. Especially since it's easier for a manager to lay off an employee they only interact with remotely than someone they see every day. This makes sense for them. It's far harder to sit down face to face with someone and tell them they've lost their job. Managers are most likely, because they're lazy, managers are most likely to include personal knowledge about an employee's life in their calculus when they see them regularly versus a remote employee whom they may not know as well. That should make a difference. It's the value that they bring to the organization. That should make the difference. However, because it's easier to lay off remote workers doesn't mean it's the right way to go about it, obviously. In fact, it's probably the wrong approach entirely because it fails to evaluate individual in terms of their actual strengths and value to the company. I just said that. It's no different than a similarly lazy but all too common approach where executives call for the percentage of cuts across all departments without taking into account which business areas, teams, or individuals are delivering the most value. When layoffs are required, executives need to focus on particular teams, areas of business, and individuals who are underperforming. So if you are a real good performer and you continue to perform at a high level, doesn't matter whether you're working from home or coming into the office. In the case of weaker employees, if they seem to be struggling with the remote work, they may benefit from coming to work in person. In other words, during layoffs, the goal should always be to keep the strong performers, regardless of whether they're in person or they are hybrid. If managers aren't sure whether their remote workers are high performers, they may need to do a better job of getting to know them and understanding the productivity of their teams. Yes, a lot of this is being pushed because they are lazy to do so. The deep teams. This has to be planned, deliberate activity if they don't go through the exercise of analyzing the qualities of individual employees. Then their executives are failing at a key part of their jobs. The other factor that executives should be looking at today is whether their roles can be eliminated with AI or if efficiency can be improved by using technology. We're already seeing cases where repetitive, low skill labor is being replaced by AI. Very much so. For instance, many law offices and media companies used to employ legions of transcriptionists. Now, AI services have quickly filled the space, rendering increasingly accurate transcripts in a fraction of the time by a human being than a human being would require. For the professionals who need transcriptionists, the AI services make it faster and more convenient, usually at a lower cost. Data entry is another place where AI can quickly replace human workers, saving money and boosting efficiency in similar ways. And the list goes on. The downside is that this jeopardizes what was previously an introductory duty for many workers just beginning their careers. Again, the choice to use AI to replace an employee has nothing to do with whether someone is remote or in person. AI can make your top players more productive and and provide a way to cut individuals who are underperforming, regardless of whether they're in the office or not. Driving costs down and improving efficiency should be the ultimate goal. I wish it was. A lot of these people, a lot of these companies take it from a let me just do it the easy way. Driving down costs and improving efficiency should be the ultimate goal. While slashing across the board may save on costs, it may also damage morale and really deliver the improvements in performance on the other side. At the end of the day, by relying on simplistic rules like percentage cuts across the board or laying off remote employees, executives are taking the easy path rather than the right one. The companies who do the hard work of understanding the unique contributions of the individual employees will gain a competitive advantage in the long term over those who don't. The executives who do the hard work of understanding their teams, using technology to their advantage exactly, and being precise in where and how deeply they cut will position their companies for greater success down the road. Mr. Joe Moglia, I really do appreciate your insight on this, and I totally agree. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of these companies are taking the easier route is either you come back to the office or you get laid off. Here's the situation, guys. At the end of the day, companies are willing to do whatever they feel like doing, do whatever they feel whenever they feel like doing it. My question to you is, let's see here. I'm going to answer. I'm going to give you my perspective on why some of these companies are doing what they do, but let me put this before you. Why are some corporations reacting this way towards remote workers when it was the remote workers that kept some of these remote workers were the ones that kept some of these companies from shutting down? A lot of them, unfortunately, they operate and they they operate lazy, and they don't do the proper work, like it says in the article number 2, of evaluating your employees and finding out who really has value to you versus just doing a cut across the board. And what tends to happen is that they forget who was in the pinch and was in who was the employees that were willing to and were able to work remote to keep these companies afloat. Unfortunately, a lot of they're having very short-term memories. They're going to continue to use unfortunately, some companies are just going to go with the easy route and just go ahead and cut people based on what they think it should be, instead of looking at what value each employee brings to the organization and make the decision based on business need and business improvement and corporate governance. But unfortunately, that's how some of these companies operate. No matter what stance an employer takes, how are you? Now this is a real question. No matter what stance the employer takes, how are you as a career professional? Will you be ready to move progressively through any of these RTO policies? Are you in a position where the company is requiring you to come back? And if they do require you to come back, are you ready to? Do you want to? Do you need to stay remote? If you are going to stay remote, do you have a plan B on how to get your stuff together, as far as, is your resume up to date? Do you have your applications out there? I always tell you, make sure you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. A lot of these employers are forcing people's hands in the sense. You want to make sure that you're ready to make a move if the employer is not the right fit. And some of these return to office policies are creating situations where the employer has now not become a right fit for those top performing individuals. So at the end of the day, are you ready to make that move if they're pushing a return to office policy that you don't necessarily agree with? I'm going to put this whole situation has created a unnecessarily combative situation between career professionals and employers. And I want to put this before you. Like, what are the 2 things you think you can do right now if the company forces you to return to work? Are you applying for other jobs? Are you working on your side hustle? Are you working to build your side hustle on the side? Are you working to convert your career skills into becoming a consultant, or offering your skills as a service, or offering your skills as a product? Do you want to productize your skills? Is what you do something that an employer would pay for on a retainer basis? What can you do to prepare for something like this? If they say return to the office and you want to maintain your location freedom, are you ready to walk away? Are you prepared to do that? If you are in, or you want to be in that position and you're not sure how to get started with that from soup to nuts, I definitely can help you with that. You can go to mentorshelly.com/consultation. Your next career move has to be something that you are ready to do. It's not something that you can haphazardly jump in. You want to have a plan. You want to have something where, okay, I can go ahead and I have my marketable materials, I have my career marketing materials. Your resume is a career marketing material. Your own personal newsletter advertising you. These are all things that are included in your next career move consultations. What is it on your resume or resumes that you need to have to be able to sell your services and your knowledge base and your experience to the next employer for a fee? That's really what a job is. It's just that you only have one client, which is your one employer. I always tell you guys, you have to think of yourselves as a business, not just as an employee, but a career professional. Do you have your resume ready? Are you applying for jobs? Are you talking to your network? Are you, connecting with your network on a regular basis? Even if it's through DM, even if it's through text, even if it's once a month, you touch base with people in your professional network. See what kind of opportunities are available. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are connecting with your network exclusively, on a continuous basis, to make sure that you can be that career professional that has autonomy and control over your career. But folks, at the end of the day, yes, their companies can make the decision to lay off employees that are working from home. However, you can also make the choice to not put up with it if you have choices. At the end of the day, I'm here to assist. If you have questions in regards to this and you're not sure what direction to go in, you can connect with me at mentorshelly.com/contact. But if you're ready to get that plan in place, go ahead and hit the consultation link. You can find that at mentorshelly.com/consultations. It's in the show notes of this live. Guys, I want to be here to help you, but I want to make sure that you understand that you can help yourselves. I can definitely help you to get your tools together. At the end of the day, you have to take action in your own career. All right, folks, if you have any additional questions, feel free to connect with me at mentorshelly.com, or you can leave a comment below of this live. In any case, guys, it is always a pleasure to join you guys, and make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, whether you're going through this or you know somebody that is going through or actually in the face of these return to office policies, and be ready to make the move that you need to make. All right, guys, take care. This is Mentor Shelly, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally, whether you are facing return to office policies. And if you're going through this, you know that you have choices and you have the tools, or I can help you to cultivate all of your tools and put yourself in a better position career-wise. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.